Hello, ma'am. Welcome to our conference.
Oh, hello. Thank you so much.
So, first of all, how are you doing?
No, I'm really well. I'm delighted to be here. The conference has grown so much, so it's an exciting event in the calendar.
To our viewers, can you just give us a recap of the last year and what are the initiatives running around in the LBMA?
So I think, as I mentioned last year, our big focus has been the Gold Bar Integrity Database. And I'm very proud to say, since I saw you last year, we have gone live on time, on budget, with 89% of refiners already taking part, which is actually well above what we thought we would be at this point. So it's going very well. And I think the next challenge for us is talking about beyond implementation, how do we take advantage of all of the possibilities that this technology can give us.
So you told us about the interface, which is already up and running. Can you just tell us a little bit more about the interface, as in what constituents the interface, and what should a refiner or whoever the person is looking at the interface?
So for the refiners, what it means is it's a more efficient way to send us their data. It allows LBMA to do its job faster as well as in a more secure environment. It also allows us to move more quickly in terms of when we receive information. So I'll give you an example. At the moment, in terms of if a refiner decides to start sourcing in a new area or country, it's not until the next audit cycle do we hear as LBMA that has happened. We think it should be much more of a dialogue. And given the highly political nature of the world and the focus on gold, we think that waiting 12 months is just too long. So we want to have regular monthly reporting, and for us, it's about allowing the technology to make that easier, but also to build the capacity in the refiner so that they can do it in a meaningful, timely way.
For the pilot project of the Gold Bar Integrity Program, was any particular refiner set to it, or was it just on wherein first come first basis?
So I think the pilot, we opened it up to anyone who wanted to participate, but we've actually made it a mandatory part of being a good delivery refiner is you must send your data via this database now.
A little bit about the future of Gold Bar Integrity, and where do you see it maybe in this year and in the years to come?
Well, I think the future is exciting. It's about how we really unlock that technology. And I'm very happy that we had our first Asian working group where the main agenda item is gold bar integrity for kilobars. And how do we have full traceability? How do we really put technology and compliance arms around the product so that not only is risk reduced in the current ecosystem, but it makes the ecosystem more attractive to investors and others who, given the high price and the interest on gold, are saying, maybe I should consider this, but I'm not really sure how, or how do I have confidence in the physical metal? And so I think that transparency builds trust, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. So thank you so much for that very excellent answer. If you can just tell me if the JBI program, is it only for the refiners, or any of the other value chain participants can participate in it as well?
So the other major participant is our custodians. So it's something that the London custodians are engaging on. They're sort of the next phase of implementation. Partly we know from other work we've done with the banks, it takes a long time, as rightly so, for their legal teams, their technology teams to interrogate the platform, to make sure they're comfortable and make sure that it's protecting clients and it's functioning as it should. So those processes have started already, but as we expect, it will take a bit longer. So the next obvious stage of involvement is the people who are vaulting the metal around the world and processing it as it moves from major marketplace to major marketplace.
So in summary, I can just tell that the JBI program is helping the industry to make a little bit more transparent and like as you said, from rock to ring. So is that all that JBI?
Yes, I think I would say, I think a little bit is maybe almost a British expression. Like the idea is to have true traceability so that you can almost have the birth certificate and story of the metal, where it came, and having known provenance as opposed to unknown provenance. And that's certainly something we're seeing that investors are asking more and more for. Also, people who sit outside the market having questions about is what is this gold funding? How do I operate in a way that I can be confident I'm sourcing with integrity? Transparency helps that. And I'll tell you a little story about that too. Like, I'm sure you're aware of all the dynamics that happened in the market in the first quarter of this year. Lots of rumors going around that London is running out of gold. So we first started reporting gold vault data in 2017. And this gets reported every month. I think the first time was a big moment, but beyond that, it's not very sexy data. Suddenly, when rumors are flying that London is running out of gold, that transparent, regular data coming out at its normal time to say, no, there's still very healthy stocks. There is, in terms of a delay, in terms of we don't have enough, we still have gold, but we are running out with men with vans to move it, particularly when it came to Bank of England. So I think data gives trust to the market and gives stability to the market. And so that's the transparency we want to achieve with Gold Bar Integrity as well.
So the news which came out a couple of months back was completely not true, according to the LBMA.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. If you can just tell me a little bit more about the other initiatives apart from the JBI at LBMA.
Well, I think that one of our big missions is to see gold classified as a high-quality liquid asset, which I'm sure you saw the stories that actually from a central bank holding perspective, gold has surpassed the euros, which I think is a really important thing to recognize. And so for central banks, monetary gold is included in high-quality liquid assets. But for commercial banks, it's not. Okay. So that means it's quite expensive on balance sheet, given the high price and the large volumes. And this is actually something that's holding market back and holding investors back. So we have only good news to tell them. For central bankers who haven't been paying attention, we've had 10 years of an overhaul of transparency, of governance. We have data to support the qualities that we all know how gold performs well during a crisis. We actually have 2 crises to point to and say, look at the data, you'll see how well gold has performed. This should be a no-brainer in terms of let's have another conversation about this. The only challenge is that central bankers, given the state of the world, both geopolitically, macroeconomically, they have a lot on their plate. So we try to make it easy for them and give them all the information they can. And delighted to be working with the World Gold Council on those efforts as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for touching on that point. If you can just explain a little bit more about high quality liquid assets and what it exactly means and why it should be an important part of the central banks and maybe the ecosystem of gold.
Sure. So I think one of the main things to know is there was a news story circulating where people were confusing tier 1 with level 1 and saying, gold is the cheapest. We would be the first people to shout from the rooftops if this happens. We hope when this happens. But I'll give you an example as well of what the challenge is that anything that is not a high quality liquid asset, anything that is not spot has to be fully funded for a whole year. So even if it's a 3-month trade, banks have to hold a year's worth of that trade on the balance sheet. And with gold at the prices that it's at, this is really very balance sheet intensive. And so it makes it very difficult to unlock the true potential of gold because it's limiting in terms of the types of firms that can get involved in it because it's so intensive on the balance sheet.
Is LBMA lobbying to put gold as an addition in the HQLA sector or as only gold should be in the HQLA?
Well, I think cash is there already, so we're certainly not trying to argue that cash should be excluded. But I think gold more normally sits on a foreign exchange desk. It operates much more like a currency, I think, as we see from the central bank purchases. It is a commodity, and it has to be stored and vaulted very carefully. But that's where the LBMA and the Gold Bar Integrity Local London system comes in.
So just one last thing, if you can just give us a snippet or a recap of the LBMA conference which happens in October.
Well, I think this is the major event where the whole world comes together to talk about what's been happening in the market. And I think this year we have a lot to talk about. It's been a really exciting year for gold. It's also been an exciting year for Japan in terms of the gold market. So it's very timely that we're going to be there. It's certainly something that I know many delegates from around the world are looking forward to. Kyoto is a very special place for everyone in the world, but it will be nice to come together and to talk about what have we achieved, where are there still challenges remaining, and how can we work together as an industry to ensure that it remains vibrant for the future.
Perfect. As you've been attending the APPMC conference since I think its inception, can you just give us the differences, what you've seen from the first edition to the eighth edition?
Well, I think it's become a standing feature in everybody's precious metals calendar now. It's a great way to pick up with the region in terms of developments year on year, what's happening. But I think beyond that, there's also fantastic innovation that's led by Albert Chang and Margaret Wong in terms of how they try to develop Singapore. And I think we'll hear more about that tomorrow, which I'm certainly looking forward to.
Yes, I hope we will. And thank you so much for this opportunity, Ma. Thank
It's
you
a
once
pleasure.
again.
Thank you. Cheers.